Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli, the computer guy, over here for the Daily Blob, where we say, what's that? You're complaining because your boss is only valuing you based off of dollars and cents, not based off of your artistic merit? Oh my golly, what is my opinion on this? That's how capitalism works. You are an employee. Your entire job is to drive revenue and profit to the boss. You are paid so that the boss makes more money. That's the entire point. It's not about arts. It's not about all that other crap. It's about profitability. Anywho, I think this is kind of an interesting time period in the capitalistic society. What happens in a capitalist society when people do not understand capitalism, right? It's not even that there's simply disagreements about how capitalism works. Just none of them seem to grasp what the hell capitalism actually is. We have these big tech CEOs right now pushing artificial intelligence, right? They are going to invest $400 billion in AI over the next fiscal year so that they can all monopolize the AI market. Why? Because apparently money will come out of this. I don't see a whole hell of a lot of use cases for much of the artificial intelligence that's out there. We hear a lot about even revenue. We hear almost nothing about profit, but there's more and more and more investment, and that seems to be the focus. Investment, not profit. I'm not really sure how that leads to long-term success. The same thing is true with the plebs, with the low-level people, right? They're all out there trying to unionize their startup companies, right? If our founder is getting so much money from investors, investment, we should get our cut of investment too. You're like, no, that's not how investment works. If I'm an investor and I put money into your company, I want to know how this is going to make your company scale. How if you put $1 million into ad spend, that will lead to a 10x return in sales and revenue. That's what I want to see. I don't want to put investment into your company and then see your employees have a better healthcare plan. Like that. That's not how investment works. Really, literally. I was in Asheville a few years ago, and there's this like entrepreneur get together. It's called 1 Million Cups. Actually, good. It's a good thing, but sometimes you get some whack people in there. Anyways, it was like the second or third one of these I went 2 years ago, and the woman was talking about investment. She was like, this is what I'm doing with my company, blase, blase. We are looking for investment. And so I raised my hand. I said, okay, what happens? What happens if I cut you a $50,000 check? What does that get? And she was like, well, then I will hire an assistant. And I'm like, oh, okay. How does that assistant lead to growth in revenue, growth in sales, reduction in cost to deliver product, whatever else? Well, you have to understand, I am working a lot and I am exhausted, and an assistant would really help out. I'm like, yeah, no. But I'm buying equity in your company. I'm handing $50,000 over to you to get equity in your company. How is that going to increase, the bottom line for your company? Oh, well, like I said, I'm tired and I could really use an assistant. And you're like, oh, wow, you don't understand how capitalism works, do you? And I feel like the funny thing is, I can say that about Asheville. I can say that about 1 Million Cups in Asheville, and you can all laugh. You go, look at those redneck hillbilly mountain people trying to do business. Isn't that hilarious? Yeah, it's funny. Until you realize, no, that's basically what a lot of quote-unquote entrepreneurship looks like in the modern world. Anyways, I find this interesting. I personally find this interesting. This is coming from The Verge, just because being in the new media world. So I've been doing videos. I've been doing technology education since 2009. Started with my own servers, ridden this weird-ass wave that we're on. And so one of the things I find interesting about this is just seeing how new media hasn't taken off the way we thought new media was going to take off. Is there a squirrel out there? There's a zombie squirrel trying to get into my shed. Anyways, might be the case. Might be the case. Anyways, what I think is interesting, right, is we were told about new media, right? New media is going to kill old media. Wall Street Journal is dead, right? Television is dead. New York Times is dead. The Washington Post is dead. And this will all be replaced by new media, right? BuzzFeed and Vice and Vox and all those kinds of companies. And one of the interesting things to see, now that we're in 2025 and, we're quite a ways into this whole process, is how new media just really hasn't been nearly as successful as any of us thought it would be, right? There was this idea that new media was going to take over the world and old media would die. And what's kind of curious to see is it feels like everything is just dying. I don't feel like new media saved media. I think just new media is just kind of adding to the carcass pile that is media. I wonder where this will end at the end of the day. Anyways, so this comes from The Verge. Layoffs hit CNET as its parent company goes on a buying spree. The squirrels are trying to get in, I swear. And so this is curious for me, especially doing technology education and technology commentary, is CNET, right? CNET's been around forever, right? Maybe 30 years at this point. They've been around far longer than I even knew what the hell a blog was. And you would figure that CNET would be like one of the premier new media companies, right? If you think about like news and media in 2025, and you were looking, if you were back in 2000 and you forecasted out where CNET would be in 2025, you would think they would be like one of the major players up there with CNN and Fox News and all that kind of stuff. And the curious thing to see is that CNET has just kind of sputtered around in circles for a long time now, as they haven't seemed to really be able to gain traction. And it's one of those, it's curious to watch. Anyways, Ziff Davis, the media conglomerate that owns outlets like CNET, ZDNet, PCMag, and Mashable, is laying off 15% of its unionized workforce for a total of 23 people. Now, to be clear, 15% is 23 people. I think one of the more interesting things about this is they're talking about Ziff Davis. If 15% is 23 people, basically that means they only have about 300 employees in total. I find that to actually be far more interesting than a lot of the rest of this, to realize how small that is. So you're talking about CNET, you're talking about ZDNet, you're talking about PCMag, you're talking about Mashable, then you have to have the umbrella company and everything else, and that is sub 300 employees in 2025. The majority of layoffs are coming from CNET, where 19 people will lose their jobs, even as if Davis goes on a shopping spree. The layoffs will hit CNET coverages areas like the finance, broadband, and sleep beats, as well as the outlet's copy desk. A handful of staffers across Lifehacker, Mashable, and CDNet will also be laid off. Quote, "It's very clear to us that these cuts aren't about journalism. The Guild is outraged. The union is outraged. This isn't about journalism," right? Anna Levine, unit chair of the Ziff Davis Creators Guild, says, that's their union, quote, "They're based on money and greed." Levine noted particular concerns about cutting copy editors and fact checkers. Yeah. Miss Levine. Miss Levine, can I call you Miss Levine? If you do not feel Miss Levine is appropriate, I can call you dumbass. We can go with either Miss Levine or dumbass. It is your call, milady. But yeah, this is a business. A business is about revenue, which hopefully leads to profit, and the owner of the business wants as much profit as possible. That's Oh, that's how this entire system works. And I think what's funny, I think what is absolutely hilarious out of these unionized employees is they don't even seem to grasp that concept. Because you'll notice here, it's very clear to us that these cuts aren't about journalism. They're based on money and greed. Now, you would think if Miss Dumbass Levine actually knew what the fuck was going on, what she would say is, we think these cuts are short-sighted. We know that in order to keep and increase revenue going forward, that new media sites will need to maintain both authenticity and accuracy going forward. Therefore, this is a short-sighted attempt to try to create short-term profits, but this will negatively affect Ziff Davis financially in the mid to long term, right? If Miss Dumbass Levine actually understood what the hell was going on in the capitalist society, she might try to argue her point that way. But no, you expect a union leader to understand business in the United States? Come on now, have you seen the American education system for the past 20 years? They don't even understand what the 1% is, right? You hear all this, the argument, 99% versus 1%. And then everybody screams at every supervisor, every manager, every business owner, every person that owns a fucking hot dog cart, right? Because our education is so piss poor in the United States that tech workers making $150,000 to $200,000 a year literally think somebody who owns a goddamn hot dog cart because they are owner of that business is somehow in the 1%. Right? They might be able to code Node, but they don't know fucking math. But anyways, that's one of the things that I find fascinating about these unions, and especially when you get the unionization and the whiny-ass blue-hair employees in the tech industry. They're bitching, they're whining, they're moaning, and they're complaining because in this world of you must listen, shut up and listen, the one thing they will never do is listen. For them to listen to a supervisor, for them to look at a boss or owner as a human being with their own hopes, fears, needs, lived experience, and the rest of it, right? That is a bridge too far. How dare you, Eli, tell me to sit here and look at the 1% and actually imagine them to be a full-fledged human being that will respond to arguments that are based on their hopes, needs, all that kind of stuff that they perceive. How dare you? Anyways, so yes, Anna, Dumbass Levine, right? Chair of the Ziff Davis Creators Guild says this is not about journalism. This is about money. Yeah, girlfriend? Yes? Yes. I feel like this is like an argument I'd have with my wife, where my wife would be like, ah! And I'd just be like, yes? I don't know where I'm supposed to be arguing here. Yeah, it's not about journalism. It's about money. That's how businesses operate. Quote, eliminating any coverage is really devastating, right? Think about this. She is head of the guild. She is head of the union for this company, for these employees. Eliminating any coverage is really devastating. Now think about that. Where does that put the boss? Where does that put Ziff Davis? If you say eliminating anything is devastating, then fuck it, I'm going to eliminate whatever the hell I want. Right? Again, remember, businesses, they only got so many resources, they only got so much money to go around. So if you're saying eliminating these particular employees are going to be devastating, give me an option, right? I saw this in the tech world, right? When both with the dot-com bust, when the Great Recession happened, one of the things some companies did is they said, look, we can either lay off people or we can cut everybody's salary by 10%. And they would literally put it up for a vote. And I saw numerous companies where the employees said, no, we don't want other people laid off. We will take a 10% pay cut. And then everybody stayed employed. Now to be clear, I mean, after about 3 months, people started bitching and complaining. But, hey, that's employees, right? But notice that with dumbass Levine, right? This is about money. Any cuts are devastating. So what is she giving Ziff Davis? What off-ramp, what out is being offered other than, how dare you, right? These journalists, some of them have decades of experience, and we're losing that, Levine says. Well, here's an interesting question. Is decades of experience valuable for CNET? Hey, Miss Dumbass Levine. Yeah. Have you read CNET lately? I mean, not that I read CNET very often, because who the hell cares? It has been garbage for years. Miss Levine, you should have been arguing over CNET years ago to improve the product. Anyway, CNET has been garbage for years. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've been there, because it's not even worth going to. It's like I have no idea what Linus Tech Tips is doing anymore, because it's Linus Tech Tips. It's an ad. It's a pre-roll ad with a mid-roll ad with a post-roll ad with apparently some content in the middle. Why the hell would I watch that? I don't care. Same thing is true with CNET. If you take a look at CNET, it's basically just ads. And so an important thing to consider in this modern world, and for the business that you work at, do they need 20 years experience, right? For the business that you're at, in the company that you work for, does 20 years experience actually matter, right? If you were at the Wall Street Journal, again, maybe at this point, if you're at the Wall Street Journal, maybe it matters. If you're at The Economist, maybe it matters. If you're at the Financial Times, fill in all the blanks with real media companies, maybe a couple of decades experience matter. One of the things that makes me valuable here is I can riff about what happened back in 2000 to try to show you folks how the AI boom, right, is a mirror of things that have happened in the past. But if all you're doing is crappy ass reviews about Orbi routers or whatever else, do you really need 20 years experience to say, yep, this router is fast? Let's see here. Ziff Davis has acquired 5 other companies this year alone, most notably daily news outlet The Skim and health outlet Well Plus Good. CNET was acquired by Ziff Davis in 2024 for $100 million. And that is an interesting thing to think about, right? Talking about Linus Tech Tips. Whatever I think about Linus Sebastian, and I don't think a lot about him because he's a piece of shit. He is a manipulative piece of crap. Let's put that there. But one of the things that I'll say is apparently Linus Media Group, like 2 years ago, was worth $100 million. Now just consider this for a second. CNET that has been around for like 30 years, which was purchased in 2024 for $100 million, right? And CNET is a brand name that damn near anybody that goes around any kind of computers knows exists. And then realize Linus Media Group at this point is probably well north of that valuation. And that's where I do say, like with the whole new media world of business, things haven't been quite going how many of us expected it to go. And it's weird. It's weird how CNET is just, I don't know, whatever the hell CNET is. Quote, at a time when CNET is still building back its reputation after a damaging AI scandal under Red Ventures, Ziff's decision to further undermine CNET's human authority is disturbing. A statement from the bargaining unit reads, quote, our members are so much more than dollars and cents. No, they are exactly dollars and cents. You are in a capitalist system. Girlfriend, you want to move to China? By all means, move to fucking China. You want to move to Russia? Move to Russia. I mean, they need more meat sacks on that war front, right? You want to move to, I don't know, who actually is socialist anymore? Like, in all seriousness. I mean, like China, they're like, oh, it's socialist. Like, yeah, sort of. Like, I'm not even sure who is socialist anymore. Anyways, if you want to live in a socialist, by all means, go and live in that socialist system. But this is, in fact, a capitalist system, and it is based off of dollars and cents. Like, think about this for a second, right? For the blue hairs that are watching that got a piss poor education in a modern America, just think about this for a second, right? Imagine I go to a pizza place. I go to a pizza place and I order a pepperoni pizza because I want a pepperoni pizza. And then imagine after I order a pepperoni pizza, somebody comes out with a pickled hog's head. And they go, "Here you go, sir." And I'm expecting a pepperoni pizza. And instead I get a pickled hog's head. And I'm like, yeah, I don't even know what to do with that thing. Like, is that compost? Give it to my dog. It's too big for my chihuahua. Like, I give that thing to Roxy. She's gonna be eating that thing for the next 5 months. Anyways, no, I just give me the pepperoni pizza I ordered. No, this is 2025. I refuse to sell you any low quality food product like a pepperoni pizza. Anybody can make a pepperoni pizza. You've eaten pepperoni pizza for 50 years of your life. It's dough, it's cheese, it's sauce, it's pepperoni. My God, man, open your eyes, open your palate. Taste the lusciousness of this pickled hog's head. Like, no, I don't want the pickled, I want a fucking pepperoni pizza. Well, sir, if you will not accept our pickled hog's head, you should leave. Don't like my pickled hog's head, don't buy my food. Okay. And then I'm gonna go down to the block to Mr. Chinaman's pepperoni pizza shop. And I'm gonna find out, hey look, hey, Mr. Chinaman here, he is selling luscious, wonderful pepperoni pizzas for half the price I thought I was gonna pay. I'm gonna buy Chinaman's pepperoni pizza. That's how the system works, dipshits. But anyways, right? And I do think this is interesting to see with a lot of these people where they don't want to be employees. They don't want to be part of the system. They do not want to work towards the owner or the boss's goals. They want to do what they want to do. It's not gonna work out so well for them. I'm just gonna put it out there, right? Our members are so much more than dollars and cents, even as the capricious management as Ziff Davis tries to treat us as such. Oh my God. He's treating you like cost centers. No! You know what a cost center is, right? The statement continues, quote, "We won a strong collective bargaining agreement just over a year ago, and we will fight to enforce it so we can preserve our ability to continue producing high quality work for our readers." And again, think about that. High quality work. We will fight to continue delivering pickled hog's head to the people of the world who want pepperoni pizzas. We are not here about profit. We are not here about revenue. We are not here about dollars and cents. We are here about high quality work. And yeah. So they're all going to get laid off. This is called foreshadowing. This is foreshadowing in the real world. They're all going to get laid off. Because that's not how businesses work. That's not how businesses work. What is CNET? CNET is a content mill. That is the fact of the damn matter, right? The idea with a company like CNET is they just put out a metric crap of pretty adequate level content to get out a particular message so that you can slap an ad against it, right? It's not high quality, and it hasn't been high quality since God knows when. The last time I took CNET seriously was pre-2010. Like, so let's just be clear here. Like, whatever happened with this company, Red Ventures or Ziff Davis or anything else, like, CNET did not fall apart in 2025 or 24, or 23 or 20 or 19 or 15, right? The last time I took CNET seriously was well before 2010, right? It has been a content mill 4 years, basically putting out low-tier garbage content in order to sell more routers or sleep pods or whatever the hell it is that they're trying to sell, right? And so it's interesting here where they're trying to get on their high horse and pretend like they are some high-quality journalistic endeavor, which they simply aren't. So do be careful about this. Do be careful about this with your company, wherever you work, right? Questions that you should be asking. Do they actually want senior positions in your company? A lot of companies out there are the metaphorical equivalent of content mills, right? Grab a 22-year-old, pay them $12.50 an hour, say they're going to get a byline on a globally recognized media source, and then have them do something like 8 posts per day, right? You don't need to be the next Shakespeare. You don't need to be the next, I don't know, next anybody to do this. You just need to be able to churn out the work until you burn out, and then you're going to be replaced, right? When you burn out and you get replaced, don't cry, because that is their business model, right? Understand that, right? Are they looking for high quality work, right? Not just seniority, but what is the quality of the work that they're looking for? Are they looking for high production quality, or are they looking for just whatever crap they can put out there? And you've got to be thinking about this being an employee, because remember, you have agency in your own life. And I get a lot of this crap, right? I get a lot of this horse shit from so many viewers and so many students. And like, Eli, it's not so easy. Eli, you act like it's easy. Fuck you. I got laid off from pizza delivery, done the dot-com bust after I had my military experience, a college degree, my MCSD, and hundreds of hours of tech training, built out $500,000 server rooms, and the whole 9 yards. And I got laid off of pizza delivery after, right? Here's the thing. I'm not saying this shit is easy. I'm not saying life is easy. But you can take agency in your own life, right? When you get hired for a company, you're going to go in, and what I want you to do is I want you to shut the fuck up for a little while and actually listen to the people around you. Pretend like your peers are human beings. Pretend like your boss is a human being. Pretend like your customer is a human being just like you, and listen to them and understand what the needs are of the customer, and understand what the needs are of your peers, and understand what the needs are of your boss. Figure out where you fit into the system, do the best possible job you can, and then come to the realization of whether this is the place to stay for the next 20 years or the next 6 months, right? And take agency in your own life. If you realize that this is basically a mill of some sort, right? It is either a content mill like CNET, or it's like a repair mill like Staples, right? Staples started doing computer repair for some reason. Right? That is not a career. Right? If you get hired to be a computer repair professional for Staples, hey, look, take the job. If that's the op, take the job. But understand where you're at, understand what you're doing, and make sure your resume is still out on LinkedIn. Make sure you're still going to meetups. Make sure you're still schmoozing. Make sure you're still advancing your educational and your skill set level so that when the next opportunity comes down the pike, you can take it and go, right? CNET wants cheap employees that are going to churn out shit. Get the job, take the byline, put that shit on your resume, and then make sure your resume is out there for other people to find so that you can actually jump to the job that is actually going to get you to what it is that you want in life, right? This whole thing, especially you see it out of the unions where they're just like, oh, you see us as dollars and cents. Oh, If you believe it is a joke that your boss is trying to be profitable, don't be surprised with what happens to your career. Anyways, that's all I've got to say. What do you think about Miss Dumbass Levine? Would you feel happy if she was the head of your union? What do you think about this? Like companies like CNET getting unions. Oh, trying to unionize, you get blood out of a turnip. You know the only thing stupider than trying to get blood out of a turnip? getting a whole union of people together to get blood out of that turnip. What do you think about this? Where the modern employees, all they want to do is serve the customer pickled hog's head. And for some reason, at every turn, they are thwarted. Whether it's the boss saying stop, or it's the customer saying stop. No matter who says stop, they still try to sell you pickled hog head. And then they're shocked. They are surprised when everybody goes down the street and nice little Chinaman is selling delicious pepperoni pizzas for half as much as people thought they were going to have to pay. And then they're crying, oh, why is Chinaman taking our jobs? Because he's selling what people want at a price point they want to pay. That's how capitalism works. So anyways, what do you think about this? What do you think about CNET? When was the last time you took CNET seriously? Put your thoughts down below. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs down. Give us an amazing comment. Or give us a horrible comment. Remember, in the modern world of social media, all that matters is that interaction. Hey, Miss Dumbass Levine. Yeah, it's called social media. All that matters is reactions. You don't have to be Plato to do this. You don't have to be Shakespeare to do this. You don't have to be Lao Tzu to do this. You just have to scream really loud and give half-assed opinions about things. That actually leads to quite a bit of success. Maybe a little less pickled hoghead and a little more Daily Wire, and you might actually be able to keep the employees in your guild. I don't know. Put your thoughts down below. Do remember, silicondojo.com. Basically, I'm doing fireside chats over there. We're bringing in real technology professionals to talk about the real world of technology. Not next week, 2 days from now. We're having the co-founder and CTO of an integrations company come on the show to talk about actually trying to integrate artificial intelligence into their platform and how well or not well that worked. So that'll be in a couple of days. And then next week, we are having the VP for AI models for IBM on, and he's going to talk about what the hell IBM is currently doing with AI. This sounds cool. I know I sound snarky when I say this. The stuff IBM is doing actually sounds really cool. But to be clear, the only reason I know about it is because I hang out in Research Park every once in a while, Research Triangle Park every once in a while. Otherwise, I wouldn't know any of this crap existed. So we're going to talk to him about what IBM is doing with AI, what models are like, and all that kind of stuff. So that's coming up. You can go to silicondojo.com. You can become a member for absolute free. Basically, you RSVP for the Zoom session, and you can try to ask questions during that Zoom session if you want. That's all I have. So with that, see y'all later.